Andrew Fung is on the show. What's going on, bro?
Dude, we're the best Americans. Asian Americans are the best Americans.
How do we discuss Asian American issues without perpetuating stereotypes?
And I don't think you need to live your life solely to break stereotypes.
I don't know if Western society wants to hear a lot of Asian voices.
And I think the reason is not fully fitting into this white-black dichotomy. You're either more team white or team black.
People like to group us all as AAPI. But what the hell do I know about what a Samoan eats for breakfast?
We're kind of united by all being viewed as like Mongoloids.
Right, yeah. And I don't think people understand the difference between FOBs and ABCs.
Back in the day, there was more contention between FOBs and ABCs. No, I'm trying to be American. You're making me less cool. I don't think you have to do that as much. We know some celebrities that on a personal level, but they have Asian American masculinity violation. Ken Jeong, nice dude, jumped out of the trunk naked with a small penis. Hilarious, but violation.
Andrew Fung is on the show. What's going on, bro?
Yo, dude, thank you. Man. Thanks for having me.
Honestly, when I was like starting the show and I had that list of guests that I want to come on, Fung Brothers was on there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But we just been in New York. So now I'm in LA for a little bit. So.
Well, because you guys been in the game for such a long time, you know, and like just the beginning.
We're unks now.
Well, beginning of YouTube, straight up, I was like, oh, it's great that we got some representation on YouTube. And maybe because it was easier for us to get representation there before we got onto Western
no
media.
barriers to entry.
Right?
You know, just broadcast yourself.
Yeah. And like I think a lot of our viewers, a lot of Neck Shark viewers just know you guys. Yeah. Just you guys are super famous in the Asian American community.
Thank you. I mean, thank you for calling us famous. You know what's funny? It's like sometimes people are like, hey, you're famous, right? I'm like, dude, if you don't know me, I'm not famous.
Bro, you are.
But I'm saying if you don't know who I am, then it doesn't matter. I'm only famous. You're only known to the people that know you, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess at that time, I mean, there was definitely like a community sense. There was definitely a magic behind it when a lot of YouTubers were like just starting to go full time.
Yeah.
People didn't know exactly where it was going to go, but it was all these people who might have had some mainstream Hollywood dreams at a time, but then they all decided to broadcast themselves on YouTube and voice themselves and, you know, kind of start, in my opinion, for what we did, narrating the Asian American experience through some comedic sketches and like food videos and sneaker videos and all stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, you probably get stopped on the street and shit like that. People know who you are, right?
I mean, I think at a time I got stopped more, but if I'm in Chinatown, I'm getting stopped.
What y'all did when y'all first started, it was, to me, very groundbreaking because just the Asian American experience was never really shown on Western media. And I find like, you must have a lot of white viewers too, or other races or blacks or Latinos that look and go like, oh, okay, this is what they're going through.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, like when you talk about things Asian parents do, like your immigrant parents, that's actually relatable to a lot of different immigrant kids. It doesn't have to be Asian. Like, listen, a lot of immigrants out there store plastic bags in the cupboard, actually.
Yeah. I got a few right there. Yeah.
And so you're still doing it. But a lot of different races do that. So it was cool to see the comments on some of those videos of people be like, oh, my Armenian mom does this. Oh, my Guyanese mom still does this, you know? And maybe not all the things are the same as Asians, but there is obviously a lot of like immigrant parent coming from a second or third world country coming to America. They act somewhat similar.
You know, it's funny because I feel like you guys kind of started like that meme of what Asian Americans do, what Asian American parents do, what that, and now it's like a thing, you know?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I'm not going to say we started it for sure, but we definitely, that was like maybe one of our popular series. I think what's funny though, is that when I watch TikTok or Instagram comedians, a lot of that same comedy is just being rehashed. I'm not saying they're copying us.
Sure.
It just comes from a similar place. You have immigrant Asian parents. Things haven't changed that much. Like immigrant Asian parents, yes, obviously the younger they are, they're probably acting a little bit differently. But like essentially, you can still go through these same things where it's like, oh, my Asian father does this. And then also like the whole like accent thing. Yeah. You know, like there's a lot of comedians who are really big right now using essentially the Cantonese accent, the Hong Kong accent. And it's interesting that is still like the Asian accent, even now today.
Yeah, the emotional damage, this thing.
Yeah, or just the Hong Kong accent. Oh, you know, like everybody, you know? So I'm like, how it's funny to see that accent has stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Like even non-Cantonese people are doing that accent.
Yeah. It's
as
like the
their
de
Asian
facto
accent.
now.
Yeah.
Well, it's better than ching chang chong shit, right? So.
Well, I hope Asians are not doing ching chang chong.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
expect that from maybe non-Asians. Yeah.
How did you feel that things have changed now as it pertains to the Asian American experience?
As far as representation?
Well, representation on YouTube and how you guys maybe tailor your content now.
I would say at a large scale, at a macro scale, I think Asian Americans are a lot more free now. I do think that we have pretty good representation. I think there's been leaps and bounds in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, I think YouTube being part of it, but also, the breakthroughs in media and Hollywood and stuff like that, and showing that Asian faces could make money. So I think that was big. I do still think that our talent pool is not that big.
Yeah.
So, like we're in the game. A lot of people are like, hey, I don't think this and this person is that talented. Why do they get picked? And they're not that good looking. They could be hotter or more beautiful. And I'm just like, dude, like these are talented people who work at their craft, but like it's not a huge talent pool still of like westernized Asians.
And I think that it's tough for Asian Americans still to break through just Western mainstream media, because I struggle with this a lot on this podcast, just talking about Asian American topics and just pigeonholing this podcast as an Asian podcast just because the way I look, and I'm thinking, how do we kind of break free from that kind of pigeonholing?
Do you need to? Do you need a breakthrough?
That's true. But
I think some need to break through. And like, I think our philosophy, me and David's philosophy, has always been like, we can make and have high quality discussions within our community and still invite other people to come tune in.
Yeah.
But it's not made for them.
Yeah.
And so I'm okay with that. I mean, you're talking to someone who's like made Asian content for like 13 years. So I think for me, I'm okay with it. And I've already been like, this is my lane. This is like my mission. This is like what I know really well. Like I can talk about this for hours. But I get that at a time, for sure, like, of course, in all of our media lives, we've thought, how do we, how can I get more? I have to get non-Asian fans. I have to be like this face. And I'm like, some people have that ability to more easily reach out.
Yeah.
And some people maybe need to be internal for the community. So I think it's okay.
The reason I ask that is because it's not like worship the Westerner mentality. It's really more because I understand that Nextshark also has this challenge that advertisers and the money, when you talk about Asian American content, is always like lowest on that totem pole.
It's a smaller group,
right? You get
even though our purchasing power is pretty solid.
Yeah,
but
that's what I mean.
It is a smaller group, like,
and like when people cut budgets, it's always on the Asian American stuff, the ethnic things. And I'm not, I'm always about, we're Asian, get money, get paid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like that's kind of where like the angle that I'm going at. But I don't know if Western society wants to hear a lot of Asian voices about what's going on in Western society.
I don't think a lot of Westerners find the Asian opinion that interesting, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I think the reason is I think this kind of goes to not fully fitting into this white-black dichotomy we have in America.
Yeah.
That's like, you're either more team white or team black, which is weird that those are the teams.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
But like, essentially it feels that way. And I'm
That's
like,
true.
Asians are like, some are this, some are that. And sometimes you're this way, sometimes you're that way. And it's like, we don't really fit perfectly into this.
Yeah.
We're like too logical to fit into one of these groups.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, like that book called The Loneliest American by J. Caspian Kang.
Mm-hmm.
He basically had this whole book about Asians not fitting into the white-black binary.
Yeah.
And it's like, where does that leave us? And it always has been complicated, by the way. I'm not saying it's a easy place to be, but that's why I think conversations like this, or the content that we make, like we try to have these conversations to help people work through it. And I'm not here to tell anybody which side to be on.
Well, I don't think there's a right answer, because I talked about with Jason all the time, like the Asian American experience is very confusing. Are we an identity, or are we a race, or what is the Asian American culture?
And we're a diverse group too.
Yeah, and like people like to group us all as AAPI. But what the hell do I know about what a Samoan eats for breakfast? I don't know. Like I love them, but it's just that we're grouped in this kind of identity together. And Jason said it was like a political thing. The reason is because we band together, because then we have more representation in government, et cetera, et cetera.
I would say that although culturally there are differences, one, there are also much similarities between the cultures, but we're kind of united by all being viewed as like mongoloids.
Right, yeah, sure.
Like if you have an Asianist face, even if you're tan Asian, but you kind of look Asian, and some Asians look more Asian than other Asians, but like if you have this typical Asian face, you're basically gonna be kind of viewed the same.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it.
Well, it's funny because you ask a lot of white people, where their ancestries are from. A lot of them either don't know, or some of them are Romanian, Irish, they have that. But as Asians right now, maybe because most of us are first generation immigrants, we're more clear about where our
we're so close to the roots.
Yeah.
Like a lot of our friends and my friends, even in New York or LA, their parents are from like the same district or village that their ancestors are from.
Yeah.
Maybe like 3-4 generations back.
Yeah.
Like it's so close to the root.
Yeah,
like we're not that far removed. And then also, not to say like you spend a lot of time in Asia, if you move back and forth, you're kind of like re-updating yourself all the time on your Asianness.
Yeah.
So it's like you're always kind of Asian.
Yeah.
Now you can still be very American. You feel very American.
Yeah.
I'm very American. I'm very ABC. But like going back and forth to Asia, I'm like, I could also live here.
Yeah.
Like I could do it.
Yeah. Because more than anyone else, I feel like Asians, including Indian South Asians, we get the go back to your country. That comment, right?
Still to this day.
To this day, you still get that.
Yeah.
Even if we're
because
ABCs.
there are ignorant people every year.
But you don't hear black people get said, hey, go back to Africa. They already know of them as African American.
Yeah.
Like they can tell the difference between someone from Senegal and someone from Louisiana.
Yeah.
More so. But they think that we are just still
we're all FOBs.
FOBs.
Yeah, we're all FOBs.
Right? And I don't think people understand the difference between FOBs and ABCs. A lot of white people, at least, I don't think.
I would, and it's funny for me to ask you this, but is there a big difference? I don't know. To me, sometimes there is and there isn't. Because as an Asian American, like going back to that conversation, is like sometimes you just either lean into white culture or black culture, a mixture of the two, or maybe Hispanic culture if you grow up in a certain part of LA. Yeah. But like, so does that mean you're not a FOB? Or that doesn't mean, all right, I'm not a FOB, but I'm saying, doesn't that mean you're not Asian all of a sudden?
Well, I definitely oscillate between FOB and ABC. The reason is because, like you said, we are very close to the root. My parents are FOBs, straight up, but they moved here, in early 80s. And I definitely know that I had a FOB upbringing at home, but lived in American society as an ABC.
You aspired to live in American society.
Yeah, correct. I just did, actually. I grew up in like more white neighborhood, went to like a school where Asians only represented 2% of the population, but when I feel more ABC or more Americanized is when I actually go to Asia.
Yes.
Here, I feel maybe a bit more FOB just because I'm thrown into that and my home life is so different than what people go through here.
And also, to be fair, like a lot of the FOBs and immigrants who come, by the way, I don't say FOB in any sort of derogatory way.
No, we're allowed to say FOB.
Yeah, I hate when people like try to accuse me. Why do you say FOB?
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Chill.
We can say FOB.
But I think a lot of the FOBs who come here, they are already kind of adapting to Western culture, most of them. Yeah. So then you're all kind of meeting in the middle. Like you're being a little FOBby, they're being more American. So then it feels like we can still hang out sometimes. Obviously, knowing that there's a difference, like there's still a cultural difference. Like you've probably dated FOB women, like immigrant women, like it is different, like when they're from Asia, But I think like I would say that, moving to having lived in the San Gabriel Valley, there's absolutely a gradient. Yeah. Like I can't say all those people are as ABC as the way I grew up because they grew up with boba shops. They grew up going to these Taiwanese breakfast spots, which I did not have in my, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like all these, it is, the lines are blurred there. So I guess to round it out, of course, back in the days, we probably grew up like there was more contention between FOBs and ABCs.
Yeah.
Because there was a rejection from being ABC where we're like, no, I'm trying to be American. You're making me less cool by being associated with me. Yeah. That was the feeling. Now, I don't think you have to do that as much. The FOBs are cooler. Asia's cooler. Asia came up. Everybody likes more Asian stuff from Asia, by the way. There's some Asian American stuff that we've created here that is cool, but most of the cool stuff, boba, is still from Asia.
Yeah.
Korean barbecue, K-pop is from Asia. Yeah. So I think that in a way, Asia coming up has made Asian Americans more proud of being Asian, and therefore I think blurs the lines between FOBs and ABCs a little bit more. Yeah,
that's definitely true. And the more FOBs that do come here, for school or, for study abroad or anything, they are, like you said, they are coming with a more of a knowledge of Western culture anyways. Dude. It's not like they're from like the 60s or 70s and like didn't know shit and then they just get plopped down here on a boat.
They've been consuming
Western media.
American media. Like, have you ever met FOB guys? Like, I was just in China and like some of these guys, like a lot of their English they learned was from rap. So they talk like rappers. Yeah. So like, yo, man, what's up, man? Like, my name is Leo. Shout out to my friend Leo from Shanghai. He's like, yeah, man, my name's Leo. Like, and I'm like, you almost sound like you grew up in the city here, like New York, but you just grew up rap made up so much of your English content growing up that you kind of like you're influenced by it. So you just take on that voice.
Well, okay. So when FOBs watch your content and your comedy, do you think that hits? Do you think they get it?
I think the ones who have a context for the Western world, but I will tell you this, like maybe like 10 years ago, a lot of people were like, oh, why don't you post your content on Weibo and like, these Chinese platforms. And we did a little bit, but ultimately because our stuff was so contextual about being Asian in America, it didn't fully hit. Yeah. And I think now our content might, because like we were saying, people in Asia are more westernized and they kind of are more aware of these dynamics, at least the young ones, that maybe it hits more now. But I know a lot of the FOBs who watched our stuff, they were like, it was almost like us translating American culture for them.
Oh, right.
It's part of it. It's like some of them would be like, yo, some of them have said like, yeah, like you helped me learn English. And then I'm like, oh,
very good.
Whatever, and
helps you.
Yeah. And then, you helped me understand like Asian America and like what Asians go through. And, I was like, oh, cool. I hope I didn't make it sound too grim.
I know you still spend most of your time in New York.
Yeah.
Right. And then David went to Bangkok.
Yeah.
Right.
He lives there.
He's lived there for a year. For a year.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So what was the key to that move? What was the reason for that? And maybe you guys can share a little bit. Well, you can share. Your
I've been back there a lot lately. I mean, I would say that the scene, first of all, Bangkok is a super easy transition for Western people. Yeah. Whether you're Asian or not, or white, whatever. Obviously, so many people it's kind of catering to foreigners, to be honest. So I think it's a super easy transition to get to Asia. And, everything works, phones work, your money goes far, blah, blah, blah. It's very social. There's still tons of nightlife, clubs, cool stuff, cool bars, hipster stuff opening. I think the scene is now that Bangkok pretty much has everything that a Western big city has. Yeah. Like you could say, even from a Western standpoint, it might be better than some of the cities in America.
Oh, word, of course.
They got burgers. You want fries? What do you want? Like, maybe the tacos are not as good, and then like.
For sure.
But I think that also the stigma of moving to Bangkok is not like, oh, you're just going there as a passport. Like there's a lot of opportunities there. Like we know a lot of Asian Americans or Westernized Asians or even Thai people who have been Westernized that are doing a lot in Bangkok. And even we have friends in New York who are doing concepts in Ho Chi Minh City right now, So I think now these Asian cities are all at this point where they have a demand for kind of these Western things. Like I was saying, like the similar bar that you'd see in New York City, double chicken please, whatever. You could almost port that to Bangkok and that would work.
I lived in China for like 20 years and I moved back about a year and a half ago. And I definitely felt some type of reverse culture shock when I got back. I obviously things changed for the Asian American experience since I went to Asia and since I got back. And when I left to Asia, we were more, let's say, invisible, and then, kind of looked down upon. And then when I came back, we were the competitor. We were, up and coming, like you said, economically, Asia's rise, brought on a different type of attitude from the West.
Yeah.
As an Asian
the last
person.
20 years of China has been
A
crazy
meteoric rise.
Yeah.
But I'm saying our experience in America was really different because now they're looking at us like, oh, you guys are playing dirty, you guys are cheating. Or
you mean because our faces are associated with
correct,
China? Yeah.
associated with China.
Yeah.
So it became it's an odd type of thing. And it does make me want to go back more often, to be honest. Like I feel oddly more at home there than I do here sometimes. Did you guys have that experience?
I don't blame you. I still feel at home in America, but there's a sense of peace in Asia. And I think a lot of Asian Americans, more than they'd like to admit, could easily live in Asia because they're not fully taking advantage of all these crazy individual freedoms we have in America.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have anything really against guns, but I don't own guns.
Right.
But if you want to buy a bunch of guns in America, you can.
Yeah.
Just not in New York. But everywhere else, you can buy as many guns as you want. You can say whatever you want to anybody you want for as long as you want at any time. You can make as much money as you want, even if it's like in the gray, zone.
Yeah.
You have all these crazy individual freedoms, but it's also kind of chaotic in America.
Yeah.
So I'm saying if you want, and this is like an interesting concept I've been thinking about, is like freedom in the West versus freedom in the East. Freedom in China is freedom from chaos, away from chaos.
Yeah.
Like you're safe. You're free to let your kid run in this park and you don't have to think as much about that kid getting hurt.
Yeah.
But in America, it's defined by individual freedoms.
We got to talk about this because I get this question all the time. Like, why'd you come back if you liked it there so much? Oh, you like the freedom of speech. You like the freedom of this, freedom of that. And,
America's the best, right?
Yeah,
America.
everyone's saying that.
That's why you came back.
Okay, I came back with my mom's here. I wanted to see her in her elderly years of her life. But I want to go back. And it has made me think about, is all this freedom actually a good thing? When they say, oh, you can't talk shit about the government in China, you can't say certain things, my initial reaction is, oh yeah, that sucks. But upon reflection, I'm like, so what? Like the social contract with the government there is that, all right, have one party in power, but we're going to run shit properly. We're going to make sure that everyone gets fed.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure that everyone is safe. And you're going to be able to, like you said, walk your kid down the street, no issues. And on the world stage, we're going to be able to write maybe a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan to compete with the West. Mm-hmm. As long as we follow that plan and we don't fuck up, there's no reason for you to talk shit about us. I don't find any issue with that. But people here, look what happens when you.
That's a real commie thing to say, man.
It is.
I'm just kidding.
Know. Bro, it is. Because,
no, yeah.
Well, think about it. Because the chaos like you're talking about, right? Like Charlie Kirk shooting, like.
Well, just any shooting. Yeah. Like literally any shooting that does not happen in Asia.
Yeah, because people have such freedom to talk shit, freedom to indulge in any vice that they want to. Yeah. It creates a society.
You can buy drugs pretty easily in America.
Yeah.
Just call up one person.
Yeah. Drugs, porn, freedom of speech, hate speech.
OnlyFans,
and
crazy.
Whatever you want to say.
You can make money however you want.
Does that create a better society? I don't think so, actually.
Well, I think, and that's why some people say America is an experiment. Because literally, how long does this thing last? It's beautiful. No, by the way, America's a great country. All these great things have come from it. And still to this day, a lot of people want to move here, right? A lot of people would still take that American passport, maybe a little bit less than 20 years ago, but they would. And I think it's because it still gives you the greatest opportunity if you want to work very hard. Mm-hmm. The best upward mobility if you're like an immigrant here just ready to work. But I think if you are looking for peace, not America.
Yeah.
Literally not America. And we don't even have to use China as this example. We can just use Singapore.
Yeah.
Singapore's a lot less controversial.
Sure.
Right?
I just use China because I live there. Yeah, but
yeah. And so I don't know. I mean, I think there is a lot of content and we've talked about on our channel about America's decline.
Yeah.
Or American exceptionalism peaking.
Yeah.
And this has been a talk for a while now. But obviously now I think more and more people are jumping onto this conversation, and maybe it's the algorithm or whatever, and doomer stuff gets views, but essentially people are all wondering, how long is this American train really going to keep going before things get super chaotic?
I've said the same thing, but I've been accused of being a mouthpiece of the CCP, or if you don't say America's the best,
you're a CPC plant.
Yeah, you're a CPC, exactly. Or you are un-American for saying that. But I don't think that's the case, actually.
Dude, Asians, you're a great American.
Yeah, I think so.
Dude, we're the best Americans. Asian Americans are the best Americans, statistically speaking.
I agree.
By the way, I'm not putting down other people. I'm just putting us up real quick.
Well, that's why the whole idea, the concept of a model minority, the common thought is that being called a model minority is a bad thing. And
it's only bad when it's weaponized.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
But
I don't really have an issue.
Yeah. I think it's the label.
Okay.
It's the label, but essentially, let's just take the definition of model minority and take out the whole model minority phrase.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, the stats show that even amongst almost all Asians, most Asians are the best Americans. We pay the most tax. We cause the least crime. We're the most educated. We own a bunch of businesses that serve Americans.
Dude, S&P 500, all the biggest CEOs. All Asian.
Yeah.
Right? NVIDIA, AMD, Google, Microsoft. Right.
We're the best Americans. Bro, that's it. People need to think more Asian, man. I'm serious.
True. I agree completely.
We need more Asian values in America right now. I think we could use it. Still keep all the individual freedoms. A little bit more Asian thinking. How about it?
Yeah.
A little bit more Lee Kwan Yu. Could we get a little more Lee Kwan Yu?
He's the most gangster guy ever. I keep watching all of his speeches from the 80s,
I love it. It's getting repurposed now. People are getting updated. I've been watching his stuff for 10 years. I'm I don't know what political party you're part of.
I'm independent completely, yeah.
No. Let me pitch you.
Okay, please.
On a new party.
Hit me.
The Lee Kwan Yu party.
Oh, that's pretty good. Right.
I don't know if I'm Democrat or Republican. Lee Kwan Yu makes sense to me.
Right.
What would he do? What would Lee Kwan Yu do?
What's funny about that is, Singapore is actually authoritarian dictatorship.
It's considered, yes.
Essentially.
Nanny state.
It's such a successful example of what a strong government that does what it's supposed to do or does what it says can be successful. And it goes against everything that this country really stands for when it comes to democracy and voting and putting different people in power.
Even the way they handle multiculturalism is actually very deliberate.
Yeah.
They'll put the churches, all the different churches next to each other.
Yeah.
The synagogue, the mosque, and the church.
Yeah.
Literally next to each other.
Yeah. We are going to get along.
You guys are going to get along. You're not going to be in your own little silos. And once you guys get out of your service, you're going to see each other and you got to be cool.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, we're going to whack you.
And then their politicians get paid properly.
Exactly. That is, I think, is a huge thing because we got politicians here doing insider trading, whatever we want to say, upping their net worth 100x.
Yeah.
And I'm can we just pay them $1 million? We have it.
Yeah.
Just pay them $1 million so they literally don't have to do that.
Yeah. Pay them properly so a lobby doesn't have to give them a ton of money.
And also more talented people will go into politics. Yeah.
Instead of just going to Wall Street and doing financial engineering.
Yeah.
So there's so much to learn after, kind of experiencing that. Now, did you know that growing up or did you have to go to Asia to kind of experience it to see, there's another way?
I definitely had an awakening. I mean, I think my brother going back and forth to Asia a lot helped because we were so close, but he got into being Asian. I mean, he studied Mandarin a lot more and Cantonese. And so going back with him really helped. But just going on this journey of listen, I'm super American. I'm just the way I'm talking. Anybody who knows, even my Mandarin kind of sucks. It's kind of there's that saying that says when you're in your 20s, you're a Democrat. When you're in your 40s, you're a Republican.
If you're 20 and you're a Republican, you have no heart. If you're 40 and you're a Democrat, you have no brain.
Why is that saying so funny, right? Yeah. But I think getting older and realizing what is important, then you look at other systems and you start to make these combinations and pick and choose. Let's say it's a buffet and you're looking at all these different government systems. And you're that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. America obviously got some great stuff, but also got some crazy stuff. Got some weird stuff here. I don't like, how suppressive this government is, whatever. But like, you can kind of start to pick and choose. And once you understand cultures enough, then you start to be like, this kind of works. This kind of works. It could work here. It could work here. So I think like just going to Asia was very important, and going to different Asian countries, and not just going there to sightsee. Actually, I don't think you learn that much
as a tourist
in a way. Yeah. Like you'll learn about the mountain.
You're exactly the big stones.
You need to like, I think making content in these different cities and countries helped a lot. It always gave us a reason to engage with people. And also, to be honest, when you have a camera out and you're filming, people engage with you differently.
Yeah.
Right. Like usually in a good way, because we're not out there pranking people and stuff like that. So, people are like curious, like, what are you filming? Like, even if we're in Asia, so, and sometimes people want to step up for the camera, and you have different interactions and people want to talk. And so you got to just go out there to realize that. And I'm sure you know that because you lived out there for so long. You know?
Going back to just you as a YouTuber, talk about the camera and stuff. Why do you think the Asian American experience is so hard to translate onto like film and TV? Because even like Eddie Huang with Fresh Off the Boat, after a season or two, he was like, no, fuck this. They're kind of bastardizing this or changing this in a way, And, sometimes I do see some Asian American films or TV, and sometimes kind of cringe to me, just because it's just so cliche in some sense. It's like the take your shoes off thing or, drinking hot water.
Or it's like trauma porn.
Like,
being an Asian is so hard. My parents never said they love me. I have a stinky lunchbox. No, and those are all still real things, but it is kind of like the stories that people want to see from us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why do you think it's so difficult?
I think to a lot of people that the Asian American life is not that interesting, because what we go through in their eyes is not crazy enough.
Right.
It's not entertaining. That's why Crazy Rich Asians goes big, because you're like, I've never seen, what are rich Asians like? What are billionaire Asians like? I don't know. Are they, and so I think there's a lot of really good stories there. Or I always say, like, to my Viet friends, I'm like, I think Viet people got like the best range of stories.
Yeah.
Because they'll have like East Asian sided stories, and then they have these crazy like refugee, like Southeast Asian stories. So I think there's a lot of good stories there, but to be honest, like it's either the writing and just the market for it.
Right.
Because
who are you speaking to, kind of?
A lot of people still don't want to see a bunch of Asian faces on camera.
Yeah.
Like two pretty Asian girl faces, cool. You used to 5 Asian guy faces, too much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just the same classic, like, 2 Asian girls walking to the party. Oh, cool, girls are here. 2 Asian guys walking to the party. Who invited the Asians?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like that's still a little bit of the dynamic, but I think that the stories are coming, and I think that there are a lot of platforms. I think Asian cinema and Asian media is great, right? Obviously, Netflix poured billions of dollars into Korean media, and I think the Koreans are doing a great job over there. So I think representation is pretty decent right now, in my opinion, actually.
I agree.
Like, I don't really, like, kids growing up now cannot literally say, I did not see my face out there.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
It's there.
Right. The top, look at the billboard, right?
Yeah.
Like Billboard top
Like if
100.
you're 25 and up, you can say that.
Yeah.
If you're below 24 years old, you cannot say you have not seen Asians. You maybe didn't see Asians where you grew up. Maybe you grew up in whatever town, but
you
like
saw it on TV, you saw it on your phone.
you had it on phone. Like
That's for sure.
You can't say you didn't have access to YouTube.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So the Gen Z, right? The Gen Zs.
Sure. Zoomers, whatever.
The Zoomers they go through such a different experience than we did growing up. I don't think they have the traumas that we do. Actually,
I think they still go through some of it.
You do? You think
Yeah,
so?
some of it. But obviously, yeah. I mean, some of their parents are like
Us.
You're right. Yeah.
Right? Like us now.
So their parents are different.
Yeah.
And their parents are westernized, and but maybe their grandparents, they still can relate to our parents because our parents would be their grandparents, essentially.
Right.
So I think like they do and they don't. I think it's just hard to say, because I think that ultimately, if your parents are more immigrant-y, then you still have the immigrant kid experience
That's
to
true.
some level.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's still being, because there's always constantly more Asians coming over here. So there's always new second generation kids with immigrant parents that are going through the FOBI fun, goofy things.
Because I don't know about you, but when I was growing up and I would see like an older Asian man on TV speak with just perfect English, I was like, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
And they usually were Japanese. Right? Like fourth, fifth generation, or they were from Hawaii, or there's a lot of that. I don't think that's going to be as weird or as jarring now. But like when I was growing up, when I saw that and they were taking interviews, like, whoa, that's blowing my mind right now, What I find interesting is you see a lot of FOBs in comedy now.
Yeah. There's
right? Like it started with like Joe Wong.
Yeah.
Now you see Jiaowing Summers, and she's popping off now.
Yep.
I find that's a really interesting shift in how things
actually a lot of
gone.
the big Asian comedians are foreign born. Jimmy O Yang, Ronnie, Jason Cheney. There's the people you just named.
And Ronnie's a really funny example because he's from so many cultures. He's Malaysian, Chinese, that grew up in Australia, which is similar to my wife, actually. And then he came here and now he's doing American political comedy. Maybe it's the ignorance of white people or just that kind of provides that comedic edge to a lot of foreign comedians.
Yeah, they have a strong perspective.
Yeah.
And they can always, part of it is like, yeah, as a foreigner, like it's easy for you to see the world from a different lens because you're probably raised with a different lens.
Yeah.
Or just even being an immigrant, that whole process is just hilarious. So there's so much comedy that comes from that
people don't see.
Yeah.
Right? Because they don't really experience what some foreigner comes here and actually
do you feel like there should be more like Asian, not that there should be necessarily, but like why isn't there more American born comedy voices?
Yeah. Absolutely.
There's not that many big ones.
Yeah. And I'm not sure the reason
Cho.
why. Yeah, Margaret Cho is, with the OG. But I'm not sure why that is though.
I do think that something about being, first of all, I think a lot of the immigrants that do come to America, they're the ones who are going to try hard.
Right.
So they come to America. Like if you ask Ronnie's going to be like, do you think I came to America just to like not do comedy, not to like go for it?
Yeah.
So I think there's a boldness and you grow a set of balls early on, where sometimes Asian Americans, we're just kind of settling into this comfortable kind of maybe Asian American slice, or we're just trying to fit in with other people.
Yeah.
So they get imported with a bold personality already. And a lot of the immigrants who come over, they are like the good ones.
Yeah. That's interesting. There's a complacency amongst us Asian
Possibly,
Americans here. Well, it's
lack of boldness, like, to do comedy, like it is. And then to get up there and feel like, because sometimes you grow up with an inferiority complex or deep down subconsciously, you're like, people don't want to hear what I have to say. And yes, I get, even me having done comedy for a little while, like I have to fight that. I have to be like, no, I have funny things to say. I have a perspective, and I'm going to get on stage and people are going to hear me. You kind of almost have to have that in you.
Because I kind of did the same thing in the opposite way. I went to go to China to become a pop singer. And like I went there on a mission. This is what I'm going to do.
Well, because the market was more primed for what you had to offer.
No one was going to sign me to a deal here in 2000.
Jay Park did the same thing. He got his own label out there now. It's cool.
Yeah. I felt like that was the place that was treating me the best, or at least
had the most system set up for you.
Yeah.
Basically, you'll just go where the system was for you.
Yeah. But even as an ABC going to Asia, at the time I may have had an advantage, but now I don't think that's the case anymore.
I agree.
They don't want to see me. They want to see their local homegrowns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
You're not
local rappers, Sichuan rappers.
ABCs are not as interesting in Asia anymore. I don't think they don't like us. I think they see us as a potential part of the bridge.
Yeah.
But it's not about like, oh, you're at ABC. Yeah, I'm just gonna come to China and with and
run shit.
My 5 out of 10 Chinese.
Yeah.
And then like become a star. It's not. They have so much talent there now.
Yeah. It used to be though. It used to be an advantage. Like
Yes.
LA Boys in Taiwan at the time, like that was like a big deal. And then Wang Li Hong at the time, and then I went there, Vanessa, and then I went there. I was like, oh well, the ABCs. But I was kind of on that last wave, and then after it got to my second, third album, it didn't feel like it. Like the novelty wore off.
The Asians got cooler, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and I kind of like it though.
You can make an argument that sometimes like Asians, they're cooler than Asian Americans because they have none of the baggage.
That's what I mean.
They're just them. Like Hire Brothers, like when I visited them in Chengdu years ago, I walked into their apartment, they're just playing, they're smoking, playing 2K, just, I'm like, wow. Oh, you guys are rappers.
Yeah, exactly. And they got way more swag than us now too.
Well, also because they're not held back by anything. They're not growing up being told, hey, you can't act like that, or like, oh, you trying to act this way or act that way, either being told you act white or act black.
Yeah.
It's like, like we're told like we can't speak a certain way.
Yeah.
Because we're robbing someone else's. First of all, we're not robbing. We're not taking it away from them because they still have it. But like we're adopting something that's not ours. And I'm just like, well, if you're just American, that's American. But
it's true because as Asian Americans, you're growing up and you're looking at what's on media and, okay, I want to be more black, more white, more whatever that was in the mainstream. But as FOBs, they don't have that. They're not looking up like, okay, I need to dress more a certain way, or I need to cut my hair with a fade like you and I have, you know?
Dude, you know who always dress the same that you would have never thought? Rich FOBs and rappers. Yeah. They wear the same shit.
Yeah, like dripped out in Balenciaga or something, you know?
Like you could take the clothes off of like the Atlanta rappers, put it on like on a international school kid.
But like that's what I mean. There's like a sense of freedom out there that you see actually in the youth. You know, that they're just kind of a free-for-all and there aren't no rules.
To be honest, they don't have to think about and navigate these racial dynamics.
Yeah.
They can kind of just be like in it and like free, and they're not really going to get criticized maybe by the internet, but that doesn't matter, So I think that there is a beauty of just having your peace and being free in Asia to be whoever you want to be. Yeah. And, sometimes in America, it feels like you can't be who you want to be. Yeah. Like that somebody is going to pop up and be like, hey, why are you acting like that? Mm-hmm. You can't act like that. You don't look like that. Like, but you have monolids. What are you doing?
You've been doing YouTube for like 13, 15 years now, right?
A long time.
Long fucking time. And I get this, dude. Like, how do you not burn out?
All right. So I would compare running our YouTube channel to running a mom and pop restaurant.
Okay.
The restaurant got to churn out food that people want to buy. I got to churn out videos constantly. Right. Just because you have one hit dish that's selling well doesn't mean you get to close up your restaurant for a month and take a vacay all the time, right? You still have to just make more food. Right. So that's also why I think I relate to a lot of restaurant tours or my chef friends, because we're like kind of, you could say they got to deal with, water leaks and stuff like that. But essentially we're all flipping burgers. Like I'm making a bunch of smash burgers, and then sometimes you'll make some content that is near and dear to your heart. Just like you have a dish like, oh, this is like my mom's hometown recipe with my twist, and it's near and dear to my heart. It's what I grew up with, and I want to serve this to people. And then sometimes that doesn't hit with people and they don't want to buy it. So then you have to deal with, the type of content that you really care about versus the type of content that gets views. For us, I feel like we've found enjoyment in making the content that we have. And we have made so many different types of content over the years. So, I've made pretty big hit videos about Asian parents, about types of Asian people, about sneakers, about basketball, like literally doing signature moves. We had music videos. So we have, and food videos, food and travel, obviously. So we have this kind of like breadth of like, I guess like our ability to speak different languages in this sense and be fluid, culturally fluid in that, we can culturally translate a bunch of stuff. Like, I think that keeps it interesting for us. Basically, we're just able to make content and analyze anything we're into. So right now on the channel, it's a lot of like walk and talk videos, still some food videos, smaller sauce. Sure. But, and that to me, those are like, that's still interesting to be able to give my take on things. So it still keeps me going, although our channel is maybe not at the level that it was. Like our ability to grab attention is not what it was in 2017, 2018, you know what I mean? Or 2019. So it's like, I get that things are different, but as far as like not burning out, I find that we can make content about almost anything, but there's also never a lack of news. And honestly, there's never a lack of Asian culture. Asian issues are always happening. Asian discussions still need to happen. Yeah. I stand by that. We have 4,000 or 5,000 years of history. I'm not going to really run out of material, you know? And there's always things happening. So
I did have a question that I wanted to ask you because I also have this issue with my podcast. How do we discuss Asian American issues without perpetuating stereotypes about us?
I think at any time that you think you're breaking a stereotype, you're often perpetuating another one. Mm-hmm. Love Jeremy Lin, dunking on dudes, dropping 38 on Kobe, blah, blah, blah. Breaking so many stereotypes. Also went to Harvard, plays Dota.
Right.
Stereotypical as well. Right. For
right.
Asian nerd. Right. So he has that side. So he actually, as much as he was breaking, you know, so I don't think that many people shatter every single stereotype. And I don't think you need to live your life solely to break stereotypes. Some people are more meant to do it than others. Like, for example, we know some celebrities that on a personal level are great people, but they have basically Asian American masculinity violations. Mm-hmm. Ken Jeong.
Right.
Nice dude. You met him?
Yeah. Not yet.
Great guy. Jumped out of the trunk naked with a small penis. Hilarious.
Right.
Stole the show.
Was that good for Asian American experience?
Violation, right? Because of what it caused, right? The conversation, the jokes, everything like that. So I think, but he is a small Asian guy.
Yeah.
Like that's just who he didn't make that up.
Yeah.
He did expose it for comedy reasons, but he also is a comedian first before he is like a Asian masculinity representation. Like I would say, you know, I wouldn't do that. Right. Because that's more of our thing. But I'm also like, if you're comedy first, you do what's funny and entertaining.
Because I tend to agree with you. I don't care that there is an Asian stereotype, and I don't think like I'm going to live my life trying to go break that stereotype, because honestly, stereotypes exist for somewhat of a reason.
Yeah, for some reason. They stick around for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not all true, but
there's generalizations.
Something.
Right. There's something there that's truth. But it's just that the representation of Western media beyond those stereotypes doesn't really exist. And I think that's my issue with it. So instead of breaking those stereotypes, actually show the entire picture.
Like, what are you referring to? Like,
well, just like, all right, so traditionally, if you saw like, you know, sitcoms in the past 10 years, it's usually like Asians being gay on TV, right? Like Ari Gold's on Entourage.
Sure.
His secretary was a gay guy.
Yeah.
I think there were a couple other TV shows. Was it Will and Grace or whatever? I don't watch sitcoms, but there's a lot of that. But you never see really like the Asian hustler, the guy who's really like, you know, making his money out there. Like Jeremy Lin, like he was obviously breaking the stereotype because there are not many ABCs.
Well, you're saying you didn't see a lot of like basketball players that are Asian characters. You know, like after Jeremy Lin, right?
Yeah, just period.
Like it's not like people made a whole bunch of movies of.
Yeah, or like the slick guy, right? The playboy, like the fuck boy. Well, you saw it with Kevin Kreider, you know, in Bling.
Some eventually in Crazy Rich a little bit, but
but
that was in Asian context.
But that's what I mean. Like just more representation of the other types of Asians that exist in America. I don't really see.
Yeah, I mean, do you think it's at all a pooling issue? Do you think it's like? Do you think that those people are being suppressed? I mean, I think part of it, they are a little bit.
Yeah,
I do agree, yes.
Yeah,
that there is a lean towards a certain archetype that plays well in Hollywood. That's also, by the way, in the Hollywood system. Like a lot of these guys that you're describing, and I know tall, buff, good-looking Asian dudes, whatever.
Yeah.
That are, you know, packing solid meat, whatever. But like, I got some friends, apparently, from what I understand. But they don't go into entertainment. They're not really acting.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're kind of like pooling from who wants to be an actor.
Yeah.
I think Simu's a pretty good.
He's a good representation.
He's pretty good representation, dude.
Yeah.
Simu's cool. Like he's pro-Asian. You can't say he's not buff. Yeah. Dude is buff.
True.
He's athletic.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like we're getting there.
I ain't losing sleep over it, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't mind this having a stereotype, but I also want to see more Simus.
But if it's there.
Yeah.
How come it's not getting put out more? And how come these dudes don't want to put themselves out more?
That's
my question.
That's exactly what I mean.
We need
more
platform.
More of us, more of everyone, more of Simus, more of you guys. You know what I mean? Get out there and cast them more in things. So, all right. On that note, Andrew, it was a very good conversation with you. Thank you for coming out here.
Dude, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming all the way from Asia just to do this podcast.
Absolutely. Got to do it, baby. Got to do it. All right, cool, bro. All
right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool.